edition, which is on Nigerian women and leadership today. Let's get this report by Oyemi Ajayi.
Gone are those days when the roles of the Nigerian women can be said to be confined to the four walls of the home, as their responsibilities in building a moderate society cannot be overemphasized, and this has been projected over the years now. Many women have proven their abilities in different strata of the society: in the financial sector, the political arena, the judiciary, in the private and public sectors, here in the country, and on the global stage, with better delivery when at par with their male counterparts. Nigerian women, strong and powerful, unrelenting with the zeal to uphold the tenets of value and virtue. For many, the 35% United Nations Affirmative Action Plan for women is said to be long overdue in order to give women 35% opportunities and roles in the political leadership. Many have criticized that for the 35% affirmation to be actionable, the men folks must give more room for women in leadership, and failure of which will continue to widen the inequality gap between the men and women. However, some women have been facing a series of challenges such as sexual harassment, gender inequality, stereotyping and limiting the place of women to the confines of the home, domestic violence, amongst others. As the world celebrates the International Women's Day 2021 with the theme Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in the COVID-19 World, many have called for the rights of the women to be highly protected. There are also concerns on when indeed will the 35% United Nations Affirmative Action Plan for women be fully enforced and implemented. How well can the women's rights be protected? Well, these are some questions guests already seated in the studio will be answering shortly.
Thank you, Oyemi Ajayi, for that background. With us in the studios now to discuss matters arising from that background. Let's welcome the Honorable Minister of Women's Affairs, Dame Pauline Talent. Honorable Minister, pleasure to have you again on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right. We also have with us in the studios distinguished Senator Arat Gwadabe. She's the chairperson of the Former Senators Forum. Pleasure to have you with us this morning. Okay.
Yeah, essentially, we also have Talatu Aliyu, the Monitoring, Education, Accountability and Learning Manager, Christian Aid UK Nigeria.
Good morning, Nigeria.
It's a pleasure to have you this morning with us.
Good morning.
All right.
And congratulations on this year's International Women's Day.
Thank you.
It's quite significant. Of course, for us in Nigeria, this is 1 year since the coronavirus made a landfall on our country, and we have all seen the implications and the consequences. There are a number of matters arising from COVID-19 pandemic that the world has been dealing with, political, economic, health-wise in particular. But what is the special significance of this year's International Women's Day, globally and then for us as a country? Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. The significance of this year's International Women's Day, particularly the theme, Women in Leadership, it speaks volume and it's very apt. One, the world is focusing on the role of women in leadership. And this year is quite significant because God has enabled women to occupy certain strategic positions at the international level. Take, for example, the US election that took place, a woman emerged as the vice president. It's quite significant, and for America to set the pace, it speaks volumes. For us here in Nigeria, our own Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is occupying the seat, the first woman, the first African to occupy the seat of a Director General of World Trade Organization. That again speaks volume. And I believe you will agree with me that we have so many Nigerian women that are very capable to occupy any seat, both national, international level. Our own Amina Mohammed, the Deputy Secretary General, is keep making us proud. We have at the AU women. Fatima is there, making us proud at the AU, and so many other women as directors under the UN, AU. Back here in Nigeria, we are appealing, we are fighting to see that we have more women occupy leadership positions, particularly elective positions. It's not that we don't have women that are capable. They are capable. But the political parties, the structure of the party does not support or encourage them to get there. It's not that women are afraid to come out and contest election. The last 2019 election, we had over 2,900 women who came out, bought forms, and made attempts to contest, but they were manipulated along the line and phased out. Why? Because we don't have women at the National Working Committee of the party. That is the starting point. And we want to get it right this time. And that's why we are working with the Constitutional Review Committee of the party and the National Assembly. Until legislation is done, until things are put right, women will continue to suffer this setback.
All right, thank you. Senator Karat Guadabe, Chairperson Senators Forum. You must have scaled some hurdles, for you to become a senator of the Federal Republic, considering what the Honorable Minister has just, elucidated based on the situation in Nigeria politically, women's position in Nigeria. Now we're talking about International Women's Day celebration. What was your experience? And putting your experience in focus, what can be done, especially in the party machinery, to create an avenue for women to begin to have a say from the party mechanism, so that the women can now have a say in terms of vying for elected positions in the country?
Thank you for having me on the program. Yes, it wasn't easy when I ran for office. The dynamics were such that we were the trailblazer, if we call it, of the Fourth Republic, and that is taken over from the military. And in that hodgepodge of affairs, we didn't have a lot of women who were visible in running for elective office. What we had was a lot of women who were participating in the grassroots mobilization for parties and for male candidates. Now, I decided that I would start from the very, very beginning, where I'm encouraging people to do the same. It's important to be on the decision-making level. When I started, my first experience was I decided I wanted to run for the National Legal Advisor of the party, at that time PDP. So I was part of the founding members of it. I took part when they were drafting the Constitution. I got involved. Now, by the time you bring out yourself to be involved in a lot of issues like that, then your people are getting to know you and your ability. Now, I was also a member of the first executive of the party, and right there in the decision-making of the party, I sat on the table. That also afforded me to understand the dynamics of party politics within the party structure. I remember a particular incident, one of our first meetings. A lady came to me and whispered and said, no, we were sitting at the meeting and they brought drinks and snacks for breaks. And the chairman asked the waiters to leave, and they kept the snacks. Then one of our members, who was a woman also, came to two of us and said, let's get up and serve everyone. I looked at her. I said, my responsibility is not to come and serve tea here. I'm also legally here. Somebody should serve me. Maybe get one of the men to serve us. She looked at me and she was shocked, and she pulled back. Now, you have to realize Nigeria at that time had this typical stereotype for women, and that is a particular position for us to serve men while they make their decisions. So I put my foot down there and she took note of that. Now, serving within the party structure, it enables you to understand the dynamics of which direction they're going, how they're going to decide if they're going to zone. And it is an opportunity to inject more flavoring. My run-in was quite interesting in Abuja here because I must give kudos to the people of the Federal Capital Territory. They really stood by me and gave me all their support on election day. But before election day, the dynamics of running was quite intriguing. I was surprised, I must tell you, there was no gender. Nobody discriminated against me because I was a woman. That shocked me. I was very surprised at that. Rather, the issue was, you are not an indigent, as opposed to you are a woman. So I enjoyed that because they felt, it's a good idea. Maybe the woman can do it for us. And I remember my campaign, when I'm campaigning, I now say a lot of things, including that asking people to vote for the other candidates, provided they are more intelligent, more forthcoming, and especially if they are more beautiful than me. And they will laugh because I try to bring in humor and confidence into it. However, when you cross the hurdle of the most difficult part of election is the primaries within the party. How do you cross that? You have to understand the interplay. The so-called godfathers may decide this is the direction they're going. Well, in my experience, we didn't have too many godfathers, but they still decided they were going a particular direction, but you have to know how to navigate to get support on your side. The time is now, particularly for anybody that's interested in running for any office. Participate in party registration. Get involved at the registration level. Get involved at your wards. Run for offices at the ward level. As it is now, the opportunities are there. The discrimination is not as bad as we think. The women must decide and assert. We must assert ourselves. Decide what you want. Plan your thoughts. Plan your vision for the next 5 years. Assert yourself. Run for offices in your ward. Not just women position. Run for the chairman. Run for the ward secretary. Challenge the people. You'll be surprised that people will rather vote for you. But if you don't present yourself at that level, how would they would now come and knock on your door and say, come and lead us. The same thing goes to the local government party structure and finally the national party structure. We must have women. I think this time around, I will challenge women to run for national chairman of their parties. It's about time. Once we do that, we're going to change the pace, change the direction a lot more. I'll continue.
All right, Senator Gwadabe, thank you very much. Amongst the points you made, Kirian, if you heard her while she was saying that at the time she was narrating her experience, the party didn't have too many godfathers. Just to underscore that even the few godfathers who were available at the time were sufficiently powerful enough to turn things around. All right. Thank you very much. We are the big fixers of that era. All right, so let's bring in now Talatu Aliyu. Talatu Aliyu, of course, in addition to political leadership, you have leadership in a wide variety of spheres. Early on, the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs was ticking off Nigerians who today are occupying very prominent positions. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, after the cliffhanger delay in becoming WTO chieftain, she's of course sitting in Geneva today as Director General, Amina Mohammed. But so, these persons didn't just leapfrog into leadership positions. What, in your opinion, are the prerequisites for women to prepare themselves for leadership positions?
Thank you very much, and happy International Women's Day. For me, I'm going to speak on the perspective of development worker. So, women they have what it takes to be in leadership position if given the space. And what do we mean by that? You see, when you talk about women in leadership, globally, it is a concern where you have women being marginalized and women being taken relegated to the background. For instance, if you look at the status of women in leadership in Nigeria, for instance, there is low participation of women in leadership positions. And for us in the international development sector, we try as much as possible to ensure that we are able to nurture women right from the grassroots to enable them to have voice and to be able to speak up, whereby their voices are being heard. We have in several instances worked with women, especially in the rural areas where we have women have been marginalized. We have tried as much as possible to ensure that we build the capacity of women to ensure that they vie in for positions, be it at the formal or informal decision-making structures. I give you an example of a project that we just concluded. Is a voice and accountability project where we trained 19,532 community persons, out of which we have 9,379 women who have directly benefited from our capacity building actions, whereby we train them on civic education, advocacy, election, lobby, and the rest. And it will interest you to know that after doing this, women have been able to be placed in some strategic leadership position at the community level, especially when it has to do with decision-making structures. Because we know that in most African countries and in Nigeria, to be specific, women, social cultural norms have suppressed women. We also have an issue of political exclusion. We also have the issue of lopsidedness of economy, whereby women's voice have been, women have been dictated, and their voice have been suppressed. So it takes a lot of skills and a lot of empowerment. If women are being empowered and are given the space to be able to strive and show their potentials, believe you me, women will take up leadership position. This is not just a Nigerian issue, it's a global issue. We have 22 women head of state or head of government in 22 countries, and of that is just 24.9% of these women that are parliamentarians. It falls short of that gender equality for 2030 that we are yearning for. Because if we don't consciously imbibe women, put them into programs that will help empower them and make them vie for all these positions, it will be a long call for us to have this gender equality. So a day like this is a time for us to showcase, to acknowledge, and to talk about women's rights and gender equality, parity, and a call for action to accelerate that call for gender and women's rights. Again, you will see that for us, the significance of this International Women's Day is for us to, reflect on the progress we have made, then to call for a change, and also to celebrate the acts and courage and determination of ordinary women who have done extraordinary things in their communities and in their countries.
Talatu, thank you very much. We know that this is a day for stock taking, as it were, and then also projecting. But the question which I asked, I want to pose that question now to the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs. We're talking about women in leadership. And the question is, what are the prerequisites? How do we prepare our women to assume a leadership role? Just first of all, understanding what leadership is all about. As a lead, education is critical. So, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Nigerian women have done so much. And the Ministry of Women Affairs, we have been doing a lot of training, mentoring the young ones especially. But top on my agenda is the education of the girl child, because education is key. And with good education, if we have more girls being fully educated, mentored, and guided, we will have better leaders. Let me give you an example. Last year, we had a special program, the mentoring program, organized by the ministry and UN Women, where we selected young female graduates across the country. And we call it a shadowing program, and attach them to female chief executives. Take, for example, all female ministers, women chief executives in various parastatals were attached. These girls were attached to them, and they watched them from morning, all the activities, from the starting from leaving the house in the morning. She will be with me, the one that was attached to me, and all the rest, even female ambassadors who are also working with me, they mentored and had this shadowing program. And these girls watch and see us, they sit with us at meetings, they see how we conduct the affairs of our office from morning till closing days. And at the end of that program, the testimonies was overwhelming. We had arranged it for 1 week, but after 1 week, most of them refused to go. They said they were ready for us to extend it. And some of the ministers so much enjoyed it and requested for extension. So we will continue again this year. And these are the type of things. Mentoring is very important, education is very important, and training is very important. That we're doing, but we need more support to be able to do more of this. We also appeal to state government, because we have more women at the state and local government level. We have a structure where the Ministry of Women Affairs at the state level replicate and do exactly what we are doing here. The same thing at the local government level. We have social welfare officers where they reach out and help the women at the grassroots. And with that, if we have more women in decision making at the local government level as councillors, as chairmen of local government, as secretaries, we will have a better feel of this, and we'll be able to empower, encourage, and mentor these girls better. I must commend most of our state governors because we reach out to most of them to encourage and support us, because everything depends on them. They are the key godfathers. They are the ones that cut the shots. They decide what. And without lobbying and getting them to realize the need of carrying women along, Nigeria will be working as a disabled child, because where the majority of the population is neglected, then it means we're walking on one foot, and that is not healthy for us. Nigeria is a country that the whole of Africa and the world look up to us. We must set the pace, we must lead by example for other African countries to follow. But most of the other African countries, you'll agree with me, like Namibia, they have the Zebra program where it's 50-50. We have South Africa, we have Dakar, Senegal. Rwanda is key, no? Rwanda is number one, where they believe in involving more women in leadership. And that's why the country is progressing very fast. A woman is a mother, a woman is a mentor, a woman nurtures the leaders. If she can nurture and bring up great leaders, great men like you.
So what is missing now, Kiri? I mean, because that's
you see, we have had women leaders in this country in the past.
Yes.
We've had
not at the highest level yet.
Fumilaya Ransom Kuti, we had Margaret Epo. These are women who distinguished themselves among the men.
Yes.
They never required any special kind of treatment before they got to where they were at the time. And we rightly mentioned names of Nigerians and African leaders who are at the international level at leadership position. Right now, the issue of mentoring, which we mentioned, is very critical, and that's highly appreciated. But what happens is we keep asking this question: what then are women looking for? If you have the capacity to be where you are today, as Pauline Tarlin, I've had her name in politics for over the years, there must be something special about you that made the men who contested with you to allow you a space, including whatever here. Now, what would be your advice to an average Nigerian woman who has an ambition, who wants to be in leadership position, who perhaps may be in high school right now, and who aspires to become? What should be her trajectory in terms of making her vision a reality?
Thank you very much, Kiria. My advice to women, and most cases, anytime we are mentoring them, is to start by asserting themselves and identifying with the needs of their local community. Every politics is local. You must start from the grassroots. You must identify with the people. You must share in their pains and their joys. Whatever is happening in your community, you must assert yourself and show concern. If it is time that the community is in trouble or mourning, identify with them. If it is a joyous occasion, identify with them. Whatever is the occasion, assert yourself and be part of it. If there's a problem, try to find solutions to that problem. Maybe there's a broken bridge, or maybe the community hospital healthcare center is overgrown by grass and it's dangerous for people to walk across to the hospital. Organize, mobilize the women, mobilize the youth as a mother, and lead by doing something, clearing the road, opening up the access road, and clean up the public or civic center where the public uses it. By the time you do all these little things, you will touch the heart of even the leaders in the community, the chiefs. They will say, there's something special about this woman. She knows our problem. She's trying to find solutions to it. Let's listen to her, or let's give her a chance. That will speak for you. That will sell you out. So it's just like the example my sister Hirat clearly said here. You must assert yourself. You must be confident and know what you want, and then work towards achieving it.
Well, thank you. I'll just back to Senator Hirat Kwadabe, while we are on this aspect of starting up from the grassroots. Earlier you talked about the necessity for women at this initial stage to get themselves embedded. I'm sorry, that wouldn't be the right word to use now, so that I'm not misunderstood. To get themselves involved in the various party structures. Sometimes it is said that little gains often grow to become big gains. Occasionally, if not most of the time, we tend to look at the higher echelons of power. I don't know what the numbers are. I think we had you on Good Morning Nigeria at some point, and you were reading out some figures. For instance, in states where there are democratically elected local governments, as prescribed by the Constitution, even though a good number of them are run by caretakers, and that is one unconstitutionality that has bedeviled us since 1999. How many women are councillors? How many women are local government chairpersons? So that if you went to a meeting of Argonne at the state level or at the national level, how many women do you see? Who therefore could now be the posters, as it were, for other women, rather than saying, okay, we're looking to see right at the top. So at that level, and local government is very critical. It's the collapse of the local government structure
that we see.
that it's the major problem that we're having today. So is it possible to galvanize and say, look, let's begin to take it from this very basic but critical level?
Yes, I agree. If I may emphasize again, the stepping stone in the political arena for women representation, more women representation, is in the involvement with the party structure. If you are not involved with your party at your ward level, and many areas have wards and you have zones within your ward. So if you attend, you must at least attend your zonal ward levels meetings and be known. If you are really not known in your environment and on election day you come out and say, please vote for me, I'm aspiring for councillor, you are an unknown. It's just like somebody that's just returned from UK to Nigeria and says, oh, I want to represent you in my community. They will probably encourage him or her just to get his money for that period. But if somebody is known, every party wants to win election. They will not want to field somebody that will make them fail elections. So women must be part of that structure at the beginning, so that when they stand up to say, I'm running for councillor, amongst them in that locality, everybody will say, she will win, let's give her a chance. Make yourself a winner. How do you do that? You must first acquire communication. What do I mean by communication? By sitting back, nobody knows your intention. Nobody can read your mind. Communicate your intention. Wherever you are, even if you're in the board, in the business world, you must communicate, oh, I'm interested in being director XYZ. If you don't let people know, how would they begin to think about you when the time comes? If you're interested, communicate that intention out early. 2, acquire skills, develop yourself. What is your standard of education? Even if the basic requirement is school SAT, fine. You can acquire other skills, know your environment, know what is needed for the job, and ensure that you can communicate, you can disseminate, and you can encourage people to support you. Support is the third. How do you reach out for support? Do you know who your leaders are in your community? Have you ever visited them? Do you know what the problems in that community is? What about your youth leaders? Who are the youths? What do they want? What do they do in that area? What is it that you are bringing to the fold? You want to be a councillor. Why do you want to be a councillor? What is wrong with the councillor we have? What are you bringing? You must be different. You must make sure you are selling something different that is acceptable and is timely. Now, by moving within your environment, you project yourself higher. When people are talking about appointments, when a government is formed and they want to put members, they want to constitute boards and things, they ask the community, the wards, the local government, who are the people we can use for appointment. If you could easily emerge, if you have been, they'll say, oh, this particular lady has been very active. And then before you know it, you appointed a minister, you appointed a commissioner. But if you just sit silently at home and believe, oh, they should appoint me, that doesn't work. At this juncture, I would like to call out those I will call them those who have gone to the level of university education, let me use that general terminology, who usually are laid back, armchair politicians. They don't get involved, but after elections have been won and lost, they're the most critical of the government process. They're the most critical of all the processes. But the question to them is, what did you do for the evolution of that process? This is now, get up, go to your wards, be in the ward executive. If we cannot get people of like minds who want a different Nigerian participating in the ward structures, because these are the people that would decide those who would represent us all. For instance, in a community, let's say, for instance, or let me just take Maitama. The elites of Maitama, they're stewards, they're drivers, they're megads, and they're general dog's body people that work for them, are the ones that will be attending ward meetings. They're the ones that will be making the decision when it comes to electing those who will represent that ward. Now, the question is, what kind of people will emerge from that? When a person who is educated, when the man or the owner of the house one day decides, I want to run for House of Reps, the same level of staff that you refuse to go and that you are dictating to your home environment are the ones you're going to have to sit with, who will now decide whether they will let you go through and represent them or not. So my question is, where are all the educated elites? There must be at these respective ward levels. I had the experience that in my ward, the chairman of my ward at the time I was there was a Meshai. A Meshai is the man that sells tea at the corner. And these were the people at their level, very smart politically, that have to decide whether I can go forward or not. Now, the understanding is very different. So when you say money politics comes to play in evolution or emergence of a candidate, it is the level we see ourselves at when we appear at the wards or the local government election selectum process that we now are faced with trying for somebody to understand why it is important to disregard monetary values for now and invest in someone that will bring further development and opportunities to ensure greater Nigeria. They don't get it.
Okay. Well, in other words, you are encouraging the women to get involved at the grassroots level,
yes.
Because politics, they say, is local.
Yes, they must be involved.
All right. Let's bring in Talatu here. At Talatu, you have the monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning manager. Now, we're talking about women leadership, women and leadership here. Now, what is the role of your office in preparing women for leadership? And in your opinion, what kind of empowerment do you think women need to be able to participate actively in politics?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, for us in Christian Aid Nigeria, women happens to be one of our target beneficiaries in all that we do. And as such, we have made it a conscious effort in programming to ensure that whatever thing we do is an all-inclusive approach to programming. So for us, we have strived to ensure that women's voices are being enhanced in whatever thing we do. For the Voice and Accountability project that we just concluded, we have been able to train women and ensure that their spaces are being there for them so that they are being represented, not just participation, we also make sure that they are being represented. The Voice and Accountability project, which was conducted in 359 local government across 359 communities, I beg your pardon, across 36 local government in 7 states, across 2 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. Talk about all the southeast states and northwest state, Kaduna state to be precise. We have through our various capacity programs ensure that we empower women to ensure that they participate meaningfully, not just participate, meaningfully and effectively, such that their voices are being heard. Because before now, when you talk to women, they tell you that their voices do not matter in decision-making structure. And for us in Christian Aid, we ensure that women are all inclusive in the planning and in the implementation of all our projects. So you see, women are a critical stakeholder in all sphere of development, and as such they shouldn't be excluded. So it's not just in just leadership position, so also in other aspects of life. For instance, we have women who are also front runners in the fight against this COVID-19 pandemic. We have women there as scientists, we have them as doctors, we have them as caregivers who have given in their all in all to ensure that the fight for this pandemic is something that we achieve success. And it will interest you to know that of all this globally, women are being paid 11% less than their male counterpart. You know, and again, for us, it is something of concern. So we try to ensure that whatever thing we do, there's that collaboration. We ensure that we work with the government and the relevant stakeholders to ensure that in all that we do, women are being carried along, be it at local, be it at the national, be it at the state, so that whatever thing we do, the voices of women are being heard. So it's in line with what Christian Aid does, is in line with this year's theme for the International Women's Day, that is Choose to Challenge. We try to challenge and ensure that women's voices are not being dictated by either social norms or political exclusion or economic lopsidedness. So my organization, Christian Aid, in all it does, in intervention, be it humanitarian, be it development, women form a very critical part of our engagement. Without women, we do not
there's one issue she raised, last week, disparity in salary for women, remuneration for women, and it happens in America as well. I remember that Clinton, when she was running, actually said that she was going to do something about that. And I wonder why, in such a developed country, that you find that if a woman puts in the same hours as a man, they don't take home the same amount of money.
Well, Kyria, that's the surprise shouldn't be that much. American democracy is over 200 years old. It was only last year that for the first time they elected a woman as vice president. And women only got the vote just about 100 years ago in those so-called advanced democracies. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on NTA's network service. We're taking a short break now. When we return, of course, we'll continue with the conversation.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the game changer, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Broadcasting in the digital economy, Maxwell Logo gives an insight. This edition also features Nancy Naji of AIT, a name synonymous with business. Meet the NCDC boss, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, also x-rays the relevance of social media in the modern society. Meet some TV professionals who have impacted their spaces and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy. Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
All right, you're welcome back here, and you're still watching Good Morning Nigeria. I want to bring in again the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallen. Our focus appears largely on development and then politics, which distinguished senators talked about. Of course, you have also had long-standing experience in politics, former Deputy Governor of Plateau State. In terms of focusing advocacy, and therefore seeking to achieve results, an idea just occurred to me to say, look, all right, can we, the advocates now, seek to deliberately smash another glass ceiling that we find in leadership positions? 35 years ago, I remember that as a young reporter, the Nigerian space was abuzz when military President Ibrahim Babangida appointed the first female vice-chancellor of a Nigerian university. Alele Williams, a mathematician. Professor Grace Alele Williams. Today, Honorable Minister, I don't know the numbers, but I understand we have about 99 federal universities. Private universities also run into their tents.
40.
How many, and state universities, how many of these institutions today have women as their vice-chancellors? Privately owned universities, federally owned universities, and state-owned universities. And if I may also state this a bit provocatively, on the basis of the relative autonomy that universities also have, what might happen? Ahmadu Bello University had a sole administrator in this country at some point. So what might happen if ABU were to have a female vice-chancellor, BUK were to have a female vice-chancellor, UDUS were to have a female vice-chancellor, University of Jos were to have a female vice-chancellor? Can we, that's a leadership position, not a big one. University of Lagos was celebrating sometime last year when you had an acting vice-chancellor who was a woman. It was the first time it was happening because they had some squabble in their governing council. But she stepped down once that squabble was resolved. So is that a focus? Is that an area of focus? It's a position of leadership and accountability. What can be done?
Yes, thank you very much. A lot can be done because, like the appointment of female vice-chancellor does not lie on the president or the Minister of Education.
Right.
A lot of people don't know. It lies with the council, the governing council of that university. And I will give you a clear example. Just as what we were saying that you must be in the system. If you are not in the system, politics, you must be in the party structure. You must be in the governing council. We need to have more women as chairmen of governing councils. Until we get that, all that we are struggling is...
Appointing members of governing council is the responsibility of the visitor.
Of the VC.
Of the visitor.
Yes.
Namely the president for federal universities,
yes,
and then governor for state universities.
That's right.
So
that we are working on it.
Fantastic.
And I can tell you, we are able to succeed in having a female vice-chancellor in the University of Calabar for the first time because we had a chairman of the governing council. And I'm so proud of her. Former Senator Nkechi, God used her because she was the chairman of the governing council. She put her feet down, and not that the woman, Professor Florence Obi, is not because she was a woman that she was more than qualified. She was the most qualified among all those that contested. And again, another opportunity that favors her was because we had a female female chairman of the governing council. So if we have more women occupying positions of governing councils of our universities, and the visitors of the universities, like the state universities, are gender sensitive, or they are a he for she, as we are honoring some governors now who have deliberately performed so well. I can give you an example. Kwara State stands out. The governor of Kwara State has made deliberate efforts. Kwara State, Lagos State, Kaduna State, name it. Ebonyi State, Sokoto State. These are states that have deliberately engaged women, but at the local government level. If I tell you how many women are occupying positions as councillors through our lobbying with these governors in these states I mentioned, you'll be amazed.
Those are caretakers.
Yes, caretakers.
We want democratically elected.
Yes, no, even democratically elected, the governors have a say because they are the leaders of the party. And that's why I'm appealing to them. Make history, leave a legacy, and pay back something to these women who have contributed immensely in voting you into office. If we are able to do that, it's fairness. If we are fair to women, we will give them their rights. But somehow, they forget easily when they get into office. I commend Mr. President because the 7 of us that are in the Federal Executive Council are performing so well. I celebrate my sister, the Minister of Finance. I celebrate the Minister of Humanitarian. I celebrate the 3 Ministers of State, the FCT, Minister of State, Trade and Industry, Minister of State Environment, Minister of State Environment. All these women are performing exceptionally well and they are making women proud. I appeal that all leaders should do same by giving more opportunities to women because just 7 out of 43 and yet they are impacting so much on the lives of Nigerians. If we have more of them, the society will be better off it. We have so many female chief executives that are doing exceptionally well. The SSA
when she said that
SDGs.
that she's lobbying.
Yes, I'm lobbying and I will continue to lobby. I will not get tired. I will continue to lobby and we will celebrate them. We celebrate them as a he for she.
It's significant that in the past 10 years,
Yes.
Nigeria has had only female ministers of finance.
Yes.
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 10 years.
It's more than 10 years. It's more than
10 years.
10 years.
Past 10 years. Just
Yes.
from 2011.
2011 to 2021.
Before Okonjo-Iweala, you had an ad
That
mix
is significant.
of men and women. But
Yes.
Past 10 years, all women.
And the head of service too,
And head of service.
And head of
as well,
service.
From Ama Purple.
right to now.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
We've maintained that.
Yes.
So, I mean,
So you can't complain too loudly.
No, I will still complain.
women are really having their fair share.
No. We say thank you.
We
We say thank you to Mr. President,
What
but
I
we're
would say-
asking for more because
What I
we
would say
deserve more.
about the women, kudos to the finance ministers. They've actually pulled us out of recession
Yes.
very rapidly, very tactfully, and saved a lot of money. That's kudos. I think they should continue giving women that position. They deserve it.
Actually, we had
Why?
that
Because-
on this program
Gary,
sometime. Kingsley.
this is because women are better managers.
No, the way you are saying,
Yes.
if you say you are better managers,
Yeah.
well and good.
From
because,
the home to everywhere.
if
Yeah,
you say that they are better managers.
When Honorable Minister, if you have money now, you put tie it around this.
And we
tie
manage it
somewhere,
well.
you
We
tie
manage it well
you
for the
manage
family.
it well,
For the
You
family.
will say that I don't have money. I don't have money.
Now, before we call it a day, I want to bring in Senator Carrot wherever here, and I want to talk about the number of women you have at the National Assembly. Are you satisfied in 1 or 2 words? And if not, what can be done? We're out of time.
We can't be satisfied with the number. We are glad we got that number, but we are not satisfied with it. We also need more women to represent people in their respective constituencies. I would appeal mostly to different constituencies in Nigeria. Put forward your women. Support your women when they want to run. And women, please, character is important. Build it. Be known for something. Stand for the right thing. And be out there.
Okay.
Be the people's choice. And you will be surprised how the public will support you
All
to
right,
victory.
Senator Carrot Guadabe, Chairperson, Senators Forum, we thank you for your time and, of course, your wealth of experience which you brought to bear on this edition of the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All
It's
right.
my pleasure.
And, of course, Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Paul in Tallinn. We're glad you're here this morning, as always. Thank you indeed for coming.
Thank you.
All right. And Talatu Aliyu, Monitoring, Evaluation, Accountability and Learning Manager, Christian Aid UK Nigeria. It's been wonderful talking to you this morning.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so that's it for us on Good Morning Nigeria. Thank you for tuning in. The program is back tomorrow, same time, 7 in the morning. Until then, stay safe and be well. I'm Kingsley Usadolo.
And I'm Kieran. Have a great day.